I've studied over 1,200 YouTube channels from all kinds of coaches, consultants, and service providers, all trying to use video to land clients. And I've reverse engineered the top 5 steps they're all taking to completely up their own results. So whether you're just getting started or you've been posting for a while with nothing to show for it, I'm gonna walk you through each of the 5 mistakes, show you what they look like in real channels, and give you the fix for every single one. This is exactly the stuff I help my students with inside my program, building YouTube channels that actually generate clients, not just views. And I've been doing this long enough to know none of these mistakes are fatal. Even if you've been making all 5 of them, you can easily turn it around once you see what's really going on. And if you haven't even started your channel yet, perfect. You can avoid these right from the start. Now, to see the kind of damage that's so easy to do to your YouTube channel, I want you to picture a bucket with 5 small holes drilled into it at different heights. And you pour water in. That's your content, your effort, your consistency. But the water keeps leaking out before it ever fills up. And the trickiest part is you might not even notice some of the holes because the water never rises high enough to reach them. And that's what's happening on most of these channels. The effort's going in, but the clients, they ain't coming out. All right, so the first hole in the bucket, and honestly probably the biggest one, is having no real topic strategy. And there are a bunch of ways this plays out. So the first way you can screw this up is by not focusing on the right topics to begin with. So let's look at this channel that was submitted by Guiding Echoes. Now, she teaches people how to strengthen their psychic abilities, but let's look at some of the topics she's making videos about. This one's about what happens after you die. We have a few here about Charlie Kirk's death and his afterlife journey, and this one's about how she deals with ADHD as a psychic. So it's just a little all over the place and not super dialed in to helping her client with the promise of the channel, which is, to strengthen their own abilities. And what about this one from GWCPA? So his channel's promise is tax and strategy for multi-generational businesses. But if you look closer, we've got some financial strategy stuff, sure, but then we have 2 videos right here about podcasting for some reason. And look, it's your channel. You can post whatever you want. But if you're trying to get clients from this thing, that kind of scattershot approach is just gonna kill your chances of YouTube success. So before you post anything, just ask yourself, would the person who watched my video last week want to watch this one too? And would they want to watch the one I'm posting next week? If the answer is no, you got a problem. Because YouTube is just always trying to figure out who you're for. And if you keep throwing random stuff at it, it's never going to hone in on the target. So the fix is simple. Every video you make should be for the same ideal client, helping them solve the same big problem, just from different angles. This is Meadow DeVore's channel. So she's a coach who helps women deal with narcissists in their lives. And her channel is all about solving that problem in different ways. She doesn't veer into a video about increasing your confidence this week, then how to get over a breakup next week. It's targeted and it's consistent. Now, the next way that people screw up their targeting is by chasing virality instead of clients. And this one's really sneaky because it actually feels like you're doing the right thing, right? You see some other channel blowing up with a certain type of video, so you think, I should probably make something like that too, right? And this is a great example of what I mean. This channel was submitted by Mitchell Gould, and he mostly talks about LinkedIn ads, but notice this video right here with a pretty familiar face on it. So he basically made a more entertainment style video here where he splices himself into that marketing meeting that Timothée Chalamet was in. It went kind of viral online. So he did his own spin on that, and it did get him more views than usual, right? But were they from people interested in LinkedIn ads or people who were just kind of like intrigued that he may have been part of that meeting? Or maybe you're relying on the wrong YouTube algorithm. So at the most basic level, there are 2 YouTube algorithms. One is search, the other is discoverable. So when you're new, you need to lean all the way into search. Take this channel, Loving Life Tyler. He helps companies create happier, healthier workplaces, and that's a great, valuable niche. But look at these video titles for a second. What is World Wellbeing Week? Motivation Workshop with Loving Life, The Gratitude Effect at Work, Keynote Talk, Xerox Conference. Now ask yourself, if you're an HR director trying to figure out how to boost morale on your team, are you typing any of these titles into YouTube? Of course not. You're not searching for World Wellbeing Week. You're searching something like how to improve employee engagement or team building ideas for small teams. Search is going to be your best friend for your first year on YouTube at least. Figure out what your ideal clients are actually typing into YouTube to solve their own problems, then make videos on those exact topics. Put the search phrase in your title, put it in your description, and try to rank for that search. And you can use paid tools like vidIQ or honestly, just the YouTube search bar itself. So just start typing your topics and see what autofills. That's what real people are actually searching for. Now the next mistake is a little more subtle. You're misjudging how much your audience actually knows. No matter what your business is, you've got your problem-aware people and your solution-aware people. A problem-aware person knows they have a problem, but they don't know what the fix is yet. A solution-aware person already knows the fix exists. They're just trying to figure out who they want to get it from. So take a look at this channel from a doctor who specializes in something called spine mapping. Check out these titles. Is spine mapping right for you? My spine mapping journey, spine mapping Q&A, and on with that. But here's the thing. If I've got back pain, I am not typing spine mapping into YouTube. I don't know what the hell that is. I'm searching how to fix lower back pain or why does my back hurt when I sit. So I'm problem aware, not solution aware. And the more proprietary your solution is, like spine mapping, the less odds that anyone's gonna know what that is. So if you made up your own kind of branding term for something, nobody's gonna come looking for it. You need to talk more about the problem in your title, then lead them into your unique solution inside of your videos. All right, step 2, if you really wanna tank your channel, just treat your thumbnails as afterthoughts. Because here's the thing, your thumbnails are one of the most important parts of the whole YouTube game, but there are so many ways to get them wrong. Starting with not having a message. Your thumbnail needs to actually communicate something, like a benefit, a result, or at least enough intrigue and curiosity to make people want to click. So don't waste it by just repeating the title like these ones do. Think of it like this, your title's the cake, your thumbnail's the icing. But not vanilla. It's got to add something. So maybe your title's doing the heavy lifting on the search term, right? So let your thumbnail do something else. Call out who the video's for. Show the result of doing what you're teaching. Talk about how fast or easy it is. Or even better, add a little curiosity. So allude to something specific in the video that makes people go, ooh, I kind of need to know what that's all about. That's the kind of stuff that gets people to click. Or maybe your thumbnails are cluttered, chaotic. You're trying to cram everything in there all at once. Your face, a background image, 5 lines of text, some arrows here, maybe a logo down in the corner. And now nobody knows where to look. So here's the rule to live by. No more than 3 elements should go into a thumbnail. So pretty much any combination of short text, your face, and an object, that's it. Now I do want to be clear, your thumbnail doesn't have to be pretty, but it does have to be clear. So if someone is scrolling and they can't instantly understand what they're looking at, and it's just not grabbing them somehow, they're just gonna keep scrolling. And this one's a trap a lot of business owners fall into on YouTube, getting too locked in to your branding. So you've got your logo in the corner of every thumbnail. You're sticking to your brand colors no matter what. You want everything to look cohesive and professional. And look, I get it, branding matters, just not so much here, at least not in the beginning. Because here's the problem. Trying to stay on brand ties your hands on what you can do and what you can experiment with. And that's a problem when every single thumbnail needs to solve its own unique problems. So we're gonna go back to Mitchell Gould's channel here. His thumbnails look nice enough, possibly on the cluttered side, but notice how there's a pretty rigid formula to each of them that has text calling out the main topic. It's mostly to do with LinkedIn ads. Then a second line that's pretty much mimicking the title, then a visual of it behind him. So now this could work really well for some topics, but it basically cuts out any wiggle room for showing things like a positive result that this got, or a before and after, or how easy this is. Anything that falls outside of this design, he's basically shutting out, even if it would work better. So Relax your own branding standards just here on YouTube for long enough to figure out what's gonna work best. All that should matter to you here is what's gonna get this specific video clicked on. If it doesn't match the last one, it's okay. You're much better off copying and iterating on what's working for other channels in your space. Experiment. Over time, you're probably gonna refine things enough where you can land on a general look like this channel, How to Excel did. See how there's still a really nice cohesion to all of these, but he still leaves enough leeway to add whatever he needs to for each individual video. But even then, don't be beholden to this. YouTube isn't a design platform. It's a business tool. Your thumbnail's job is to get attention, not to win some branding award. Step 3, if you really want to hurt your channel, just waste the first 30 seconds of every video. Because here's the reality. Typical educational YouTube videos lose about 30 to 40% of their audience in the first 30 seconds. Now, it's actually pretty normal, higher than you'd think it should be, but normal. However, I've actually seen much worse, and it's usually because of a handful of super common intro mistakes. This first one is something that I see a lot for my students in their first couple of videos. So your video starts and there's just nothing. And not intentional nothing, like you're creating a mood with B-roll.
Have you ever worried?
You just didn't edit out that first second of silence before you started talking. Here's the thing, this isn't a real-time Zoom call. Silence like that can just feel super awkward, and people will leave if they feel at all uncomfortable. So just edit out that dead air so the second that video starts, you're talking, more like this.
Have you ever worried that your spending is getting out of control?
Okay, but what about the branded intro? You know what I'm talking about, that 5-second logo animation with your business name whooshing onto the screen, or the little montage of clips set to music. Channels that do this are really just doing it to show off that they're legit, to prove that they're a real business. But the irony is those intros don't really impress anyone and they waste people's time. So skip the fluff and get into it. All right, third intro mistake, this is the big one. No real hook. Your first 10 to 15 seconds of your video should be nothing but a really carefully written intro that confirms they're in the right place to learn what they clicked on and properly sets the stakes. Like, what do they gain by watching this? What would they lose if they don't? Why does any of this matter? And your hook can be a question, it can be a result they can expect, or if nothing else, just tell them straight up, this is exactly what we're covering today. And here's what to avoid in those first 15 seconds. Don't introduce yourself. They don't care yet. So if you want to put your name on screen, fine, but you don't need to say it. No welcoming people to your channel or welcoming them back to your channel, and definitely no asking for likes, subscribes, or comments. Not in your intro. All that stuff, if you're gonna do it at all, can come later. But right now, in these first precious seconds, you've got one job. Hook them properly so they feel like they'd be missing out on something important if they left. All right, step 4 to screwing up on YouTube, you're just gonna wing it. You hit record, you start talking, and you just keep talking. You repeat yourself, you go off on a tangent over here, you start drifting away from the thing people actually click to learn about. And before you know it, you're 5 minutes in and you haven't really said anything yet. This is such an easy trap for a certain YouTuber to fall into, right? Because maybe you're good at talking. Maybe you can hold a conversation and think on your feet and sound really smart in a meeting. And that's great. But your viewers are giving you their attention, and that's valuable. So if you're meandering all over the place and repeating the same point 3 different ways, or going down some rabbit hole that has nothing to do with why they clicked, they're gonna leave. And they should. Your lack of preparation is wasting their time. So the simple fix is to script your videos start to finish. I know it sounds harder and maybe even rigid.
That's what she said.
But it's the single best way to make sure you stay tight, stay on topic, and actually deliver what you promised. And if you really can't bring yourself to script the whole thing, fine, at least work from a focused outline. But I'm telling you, at minimum, script your hook. That part is way too important to get right, and you need to deliver it confidently and succinctly. You can't do that if you're making it up on the fly. But even if you do script your videos, you can still mess it up. Talking to a camera is hard. Most people feel pretty weird doing it when they're starting out, and you probably will feel that way too. It's normal, but the trick is to constantly work on getting better, more natural, more like yourself. And since I recommend scripting so much, that usually means using a teleprompter, which also means you need to start getting really good at reading it in a way that doesn't look like you're reading a hostage note. And don't worry, I've got a few pro tips that'll definitely help you look a bit more alive and human in your delivery. So first, write your scripts the way that you would naturally talk. Include all of the little filler phrases that you'd actually say, and just little things like writing gonna rather than going to, stuff like that. However you would just say it in a conversation, write it just like that. Then, before you hit record, you want to read through the script like 2 or 3 times, not to memorize it, just to get familiar with it so that you know what's coming up and the flow from one idea to the next isn't going to trip you up. Then, this is the big one. So when you actually sit down to record, do it with the mental intention that you're not reading. The words are just flowing out of you like you're saying them for the first time. That mindset shift alone makes a huge difference. It's still gonna take some practice, but these tips are definitely gonna help speed up your improvements. So let's say someone actually finds your videos. They watch one, they like it, so they watch another, and then they binge a bunch of them, but then nothing happens. They never become a client because they never even knew that they could pay you to help them. And even if they figured that out, there's no easy way to find you. They'd have to go full Carmen Sandiego just to track you down. So step 5 in sabotaging your channel is to make them hunt you down. Check out this channel page from Move Without Injury. He teaches physical therapy techniques to help people, move without injury, I guess. And one of his videos has over 160,000 views and quite a few more, at least in the thousands of views. So he gets people watching his videos, but I don't see any links to his site on his channel page. And if I go to his description, I have to scroll all the way down to here. And even then, it's not even formatted as a link. So most people would probably just skip over it. Now look, I love people. I am a people person, but we're usually pretty lazy. So you have to make it stupid easy for them to connect the dots, to realize that you're not just some nice YouTube helper giving away free advice. You actually do this for a living and they can pay you to help them. So first thing here, you have to actually mention that you work with clients. And I'm not talking about some big salesy pitch in every video, just little casual mentions sprinkled in. That way they get the hint that you are indeed for hire and they can hire you if they want to. But that's only half of it. The other half is giving them the clear path to actually follow through and contact you. So I call this your YouTube to clients bridge, and it's actually really simple. Just put a link to your website on your channel page. They give you a specific input for that when you set up your channel. But here's the thing, link them to your website, maybe a second link to a lead magnet if you have a good one. That's it. Don't link them to your Instagram or your Facebook page. That is just what we call a lateral move, right? We want to move people down your funnel, not just to another social profile that probably won't even do as well at converting people to clients. And then put that same link to your website at the top of every single video description. Not just plain text like our physical therapy friend, you want to make it into an actual link by typing in the HTTPS part of it at the beginning. And label it something like work with me or book a call or how I can help. Whatever makes sense for your business, just make it obvious. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, I get it, but how do I actually put all of this together? I have something for you. So it's my free masterclass called How to Attract Unlimited Clients from YouTube. In just about an hour, I walk you through my whole system, the 5-part framework that I've used to build a 7-figure business from YouTube, and what I've helped thousands of other expertise-based businesses do too. You'll see exactly how to get people showing up to your sales calls already sold, ready to pay premium rates because they've been watching you for weeks or months now. No fancy production, no going viral, no becoming a full-time YouTuber. So if that sounds like something you want this year, click right here to sign up for free, and I cannot wait to show you my whole system. See you right there in a second.